after the recording, Jonathan had several more questions, so we just decided to hit record on that. So this is just a little bit of a deeper dive into the same topic of goals and goal achievement. So enjoy.
Okay. So like I was saying, the transmutation of energy, I see this happen to you all the time, where an idea will just come into your awareness out of the blue while you're working on an idea. And you'll go, oh, you know what I can do? I can do this and this and this, and I can give them that, and this will connect with this, and then it'll kind of all be cohesive. That's perfect. All right, and you'll go from there. You'll keep going, and you'll go, oh, you know what else I can do? And I'm thinking, how is she going to do all of this? Right? And that's phase one, right? That's taking me down. But then I go, you know what? How does it matter? She's going to do it. Somehow it's going to happen. And then I'll monitor you for maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes a couple months. And your plan that you had, just the first part is working pretty well. The second part, you seem to have forgotten about. And the third part is floating around somewhere. And then all of a sudden, one day, it all comes together. Someone on the phone calls and asks, and you go, oh, I have a system for that. And you use the entire thing that I thought you had forgotten about. Mm-hmm. Is that anywhere, the transmutation of energy? Is that what is occurring with you? Like, explain to me how that God-given inspiration, I thought it had to be used like right then and there in the system. You seem to be logging all of these opportunities to transmute. Is that what it is?
Yes. So when you're given the inspired thought, and then you take the inspired action, and then stuff starts to happen, all of that is going back to the source. And the thing is, a lot of us ask for divine inspiration, right? Or divine intervention. And we say, you know, this is my goal. God, please help me with my goal. And so we're talking to God. Then he gives it back to us, which, I mean, he gave us the thought in the first place. So we're just like constantly sending it back to him.
Right.
Or source, however you want to think of it, but where it's always returning to its source. So whether it's through my action that led to this person's success, that led to this, that led to that, whatever the weirdness is, I am not aware of it.
Right.
I know that I'm not, like, the water cycle is easy. We know where it comes from and where it goes, and it always returns to its source eventually, right? Lightning crashes, water comes down back to the ocean, and then it gets evaporated again. So we know where the source is, but we don't necessarily know which part was the source. It's a cycle.
Right. Exactly.
So it's constantly moving and constantly circulating. And I think that's where it is. Like, the idea comes, you do the thing, and then once you do the thing, now that's set into motion, cause and effect, a bunch of other things. That eventually comes back up to the source, and the new idea comes back to you.
Got it.
That takes you on the next part of that journey.
So I think I'm getting caught up in the wordage of transmutation, like something mutating, something becoming anew. In actuation, it's just the flow of energy.
Well, here, think of this. So when I get a thought, I'm transmuting that thought into an action. I'm not, like, the thought isn't staying a thought. It's moving into a new
unless
form.
we held it in. Which is why I get it. Okay. Because
that's what I think.
You keep absorbing these ideas.
You just get bloated.
And then right. I just think she's so full of all these ideas. When is she going to implement them? Yeah. But then once you take one step in the direction of one idea.
Yeah.
It seems like the other ideas start to kind of funnel down with that.
Exactly.
And then move. And then before I know it, all of a sudden, you're doing everything that you said you were going to do. And now...
a rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's comforting.
Yeah.
That's comforting. I believe... I say this more clearly. I'm getting excited. I used to watch my father with these beautiful ideas.
Yeah.
And my mother would start writing it down and planning it and figuring out how to make it work. And she would be all super excited about it. And then she'd come back to my dad. She'd say, John, we can do it. It's going to take this much money, this much time, but we can do your idea. He would say, oh, T, man, I was just thinking. I was just dreaming. I don't even want to do that.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way, but I did mean it that way, right?
Right?
But you do. You get poison inside because you have all these ideas and they're not going anywhere. And so everything is vibration. Everything is energy. So what happens inside of your body when all of these ideas are there? Your body has to get rid of it, or it has to turn it into something else, and it sees it as a foreign object.
Right.
And now you got cancer. And I know people are going to think that's crazy, whatever. I don't really care. But I do believe that if we don't get rid of the things that are inside of us that are meant to come out, that it will poison us inside.
Well, that's
and
the
our
funny
bodies
thing.
will
I think
suffer.
I think that's
because
why
we're physical
he,
bodies.
I think that's
We
why
have
he
these.
spoke that aloud. I think he, for every idea he ever had,
Yeah.
he spoke it aloud. Where I have these ideas in my head and I go, oh, that's nice. I just let them pass through me. I literally come into my
Well, and
awareness.
here's the thing.
I just let it pass right through me. I don't
Yeah.
write it down and think about
So
it.
you can
But that's not fair
tune
either.
into a thought, and you can tune out of a thought.
Right, like
You don't
changing
have
the
to-
station on a radio station.
Yeah, you don't have to take it as yours. So one of the meditation exercises that I don't remember if it was Wayne Dyer or Joe Vitale, but they talk about is paying attention to your thoughts and recognizing that they're just thoughts. You are not your thoughts. They're not you. They're
Right.
just thoughts that you're tuning into right now, and they're passing like clouds. They just pass and they go away. And you can pay attention to what thoughts you want to pay attention to, and you can ignore the ones you don't want to pay attention to. And really, what the
Selective
more
thinking.
the more, yeah, well, and the more listening, really, the more
Mm-hmm.
that they do research on the human brain. I believe it was Bruce Lipton that has studied it, maybe Paul Sheely, but they have found that our brain is not so much a center of creation. It's really used as like a frequency receiver.
As a receiver, yes.
Yeah, so we're actually
yeah.
literally receiving the thoughts of
Yeah,
the collective world around us because we're one.
10% is just
we're
how
one
we
with
filter
God,
it.
right? We are all one
Right.
with each other, with God, with everyone. You and I, we're all one. And so we can hear and see,
Receive and project. I believe that's why
everything.
we don't have to use this as much as our brains say we don't use. We actually, our brains, we can use all the time for reception and perception. So I really appreciated how you helped us understand the perception part of it, how to see all of these laws as a comforting thing. Seeing gravity is not something that's working against us, something that we are using to work for our benefit.
Yeah,
and that's
I appreciate it right now. I'm sitting in a seat.
Right,
I'm
'cause
not floating
imagine we were floating
bumping
around,
into
right?
stuff.
Right, that'd be a lot more challenging. Imagine sleeping in zero gravity.
No, I don't want to.
It's just- I thought about that. Like, how do you get your house to stay on the ground?
Strapped, yeah.
Right? Right?
Strap yourself
we
up
need
to
gravity.
something. Yeah.
So with that, being comforted with this, it almost seems like if we set our minds to it and we hold our image and keep our focus on that, and we just take the little steps to get there, it literally is just a matter of time. It literally is just a matter of action. The more action we put into it, chances are the faster it'll come, I'm sure. But even then, it may happen. It has to happen when it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen when it's going to happen. So we really
As long
just
as you
have
keep
to
pursuing
set
it.
our will to it. Continue pursuing it. Go for it. Don't let your goals go.
Right.
And in doing that, just be aware, cognizant, and capable of keeping the traps out of your way.
Yeah, and I
Right?
think
That's the
something
biggest
that,
part. Keep the
yeah,
traps out of
something
your
that I
way.
left out too is that it has to be within your realm of imagination. So if you couldn't even imagine what a millionaire would feel like, then it's too big. That doesn't mean that it can't be a vision. It absolutely can be a vision, but it can't be your goal because you can't even imagine it. You have to be able to imagine it. So you have to be, it has to be within your scope of possibilities.
Wow.
If you really believe that it's impossible, it's okay to have it as a vision. It is absolutely okay to have it as a vision. But you, like Paul said, you know, on the way to 1 million, you have to pass 50,000.
Right.
And if you've only done 20,
Right.
50 is a great goal.
Yeah, you got to get there somewhere.
You can imagine what it would feel
Yeah.
like to make double the money. Your paycheck looks like 2 times as much. You can't imagine
Yeah.
what it would look like to be 50 times as much.
At the age
That's
of
impossible.
8 years old, I couldn't even imagine $1,000.
Exactly.
I really couldn't until my father came home one day with a manila envelope with all cash. He had just had his huge sale at his studio, his martial arts studio, and he goes, "Hey, buddy, this is some real money, man." And I was like, "Okay." So he pulls out this wad, And I'm like, what is that? He goes, that's $1,000. I was like, oh. He pulls out 2 more just like it. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot of money. Right? I'm 8 years old going, never seen that much money before.
Right.
And in that first time coming to my awareness, I realized that a person could actually hold $3,000 in their hands. So then I started to imagine what 5 would look like, 5 of those, and then 10 of those. And I was like, 10 of those would fill up the table. It was a little coffee table. Would fill up the table if I had 10 of those. What could I do with $10,000? Who could I help with $10,000? Right? Like that kind of thing.
But
so,
until then, it wasn't even a possibility.
Not even a thought in my mind.
$100 is ridiculous to you as an 8-year-old.
I saw $100 and I was like, I've never even held that before. I didn't even know what it felt like to put it in my hand.
Right.
But you're right, it has to come into our awareness sometimes.
It has to be
in order to be
imaginable.
imaginable. Right? Because you just can't fathom that.
I personally cannot imagine what it's like to be Jeff Bezos and make the money that he makes. I am not there.
But he had to have, right? At one point in
some
time,
point. But
he had to say,
wasn't-
I'm going to get paid for breathing.
But it wasn't when he started, though. When
No.
he started, it was a totally different goal and different dream. It's as we evolve, then our dreams should evolve.
Right.
Of course.
Okay, so
You're going to outgrow what your dream was last year, I hope.
So I think this is where a lot of us sort of stumble. I think it's not necessarily when we're already in the race. I think it's what you said in the very beginning.
Yeah, it's
just getting started.
Yep.
Just
Setting your goal.
even planning the goal. I mean, to hear those 5 things that trip us up, I thought to myself, that's like shooting off each toe. It really, really is at different times, and randomly, because we fall into that so easily
And I could
that
tell
we never
you
even
this.
get started.
Yeah, I could tell you this. So, as a counselor, helping people dance, the 3 questions on the bottom, on the back of the page, what, 2 months, 3 years, whatever, 2 months, 2 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. How good of a dancer would you like to become and why? People are so realistic that almost always they accomplish their 3-month goal within 2 weeks.
Right.
Or 3 weeks.
Right.
Because they just can't imagine it.
Yeah.
They don't even think it's reality.
Yeah.
And they're underestimating what their potential is.
They say things like, in 3 months, I want to be able to dance to an entire song
Yeah.
and be on beat.
Right.
And I'm all, you're going to do that next week. You know that, right? When you come here next week, I'm doing that with you.
But see, at least they are
But they have no
imagining
idea.
it.
Yes.
They're capable of imagining it. Now, when we say things like, wouldn't it be great to be able to go to a wedding and dance to all the songs that they play and feel like you could dance with anyone, not just your wife, but if someone else asked you to dance, you'd say, sure, yeah, and you would give her a great time. She would giggle and laugh and have fun with you, and your wife would have fun dancing with another guy. It's not even in their realm of imagination because they haven't seen it,
Right.
or it's not possible to
That's
them.
so interesting. So would you say that as human beings, it's almost impossible for us to imagine the unseen? Like, for example, we wouldn't have gone to the moon if we didn't know it was
See
there.
the moon, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yes, I would say that because the Wright brothers believed because they saw birds.
Exactly.
They didn't believe flying was possible without knowing flying was a thing. We have to have an awareness
Yeah.
in order for it to be imaginable, I think.
But
it's like the awareness could be from a dream. It doesn't have to be something you've seen. It could be a vision that you were given.
Right. It's like believing in Jesus Christ, believing in God.
Here's what I think. Like, let's take Nick and Megan's goal, right? 2 million people in the Life on Fire movement that they are helping transform 2 million people's lives.
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't do that if they didn't know that 2 million people existed. That
Right.
there were 2 million people on this planet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There's some limitations to the imagination, and there's some that the imagination could really imagine anything. I mean,
Well, that's like with faith, right?
yeah.
Yes, having faith is having belief in things that are unseen.
Yes.
So having faith in God is you don't see God. At the same time, however, you
Aware
do
of his
see His
presence.
works.
Yeah, you're aware that he exists.
And someone has told you there is a God.
Exactly.
As soon as someone says there's a God, you start to think, oh, okay, so what does He do? And now so they start explaining His works.
Yes.
It makes it so
and then
much
you can
easier
wonder and imagine
to believe
the
in something.
possibilities of what it is. Yes.
Exactly.
There has to be some basic level of like some kind of awareness.
Right. Which is why there are missionaries who go out and tell people,
Or
there is a God.
curiosity.
Single
It's
God.
either awareness or curiosity. Like explorers, They know something else is out there. They don't know
Right.
what it is, but they know something else is out there.
Right.
And they're curious enough to go try and find it.
But because it's in their awareness. For example, Columbus, right? He knew the world had to be round because in his mind, he's like, I can see the curvature of the earth. Can you see the sphere, people? And they were saying, he's crazy to even try it. You're going to fall off the edge, you're going to die. But he was so curious and so forthright in believing what he believed that he went and did it anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But so that makes sense. So I guess I would say for people out there listening right now to these outtakes,
After chatter.
for a person like yourself, who has devoted their life to personal growth and development, not just in themselves, but for helping other people reach their goals, what would you say the very first step is? I know awareness is already there. We know that there are certain things that are gonna they're gonna stop us before we start.
Right.
Now that we know that, how do we navigate out of those 5 things that can stop us? How do we get past that so we can start reaching our goal?
Yeah. So I think the truth is, if we are really real with ourselves, the times that we have not achieved our goals, it's not because we didn't know what to do. We knew what to do. We always know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't know everything, you know at least one thing
Yeah,
that you could do.
exactly. Yeah, I want to be healthier.
Do that.
Stop drinking.
Do one thing and hold your image. Really imagine the person that you want to be. The person, what are the activities that they would be doing? What crowds are they hanging out with? Who is this person that you want to become? Really think into that. I think that, just like we say in marketing, right? Imagine your avatar. Be them. Be in their seat, looking at Facebook, whatever it is they're doing. What are they doing? What are they looking at? Are they looking at the TV? Are they looking at Facebook? Are they looking things up on YouTube? Who is this person? The more you can get into someone's skin, in their mind, into who that person is. One of the reasons that I'm successful at sales is because I think about these people. I think, what are they feeling? What are they going through right now? Because when you can connect on that level, you can take them to where they want to become, where they want to be, because you can imagine who they are right now and what are their dreams and desires. If I can imagine their dreams and desires, I can help them imagine their dreams and desires, and I can help them get there.
Yes.
So really work on imagining who you want to become,
Yes.
because that is everything. I really believe that's everything.
I love that.
Because once you hold that image in your mind, you don't let it go.
It's so funny because I played video games for the first time last week with Xander. Like really played video games with like you shoot people and bad guys and you run around and you pick up stuff.
Yeah.
The whole 9 yards, right? And of course
You weren't
I
just
did.
looking at the ceiling.
Oh, I
shooting.
actually did pretty good. I actually won a couple
I
times.
think they
was-
changed the way
Ooh.
that those first-person shooters work, because that was used to be really
Oh,
hard.
it was difficult. I was the
But I
guy
think
who
it's
was
a lot
running
easier,
around
right?
blowing himself
Right?
up. Like, look at Jonathan.
Exactly.
He has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, it was so hard in the 90s. I think it's a lot
to
easier
play this
now.
game. Find Jonathan. Hurt him. What the heck? You pick it on me for? So anyhow,
Yeah.
but I thought about the whole skin thing. It's like the lingo the kids use, you know.
Yeah.
It's, oh, pick a new skin. And I'm like, pick a new skin.
Oh,
That sounds
yeah.
so uncomfortable, right? And they mean, no, you know, like pick a different guy.
Yeah.
I said, oh, you make a character. They go, no, it's a skin. And I thought, what verbiage? Like, what use of
so
words?
weird. I haven't heard
I'm all wait. We used to call them characters because
Yeah.
that you have a Poison Ivy character, you have a Joker
Yeah,
character, you have a
yeah,
Batman
yeah,
character.
yeah.
No. For them, you are the character. You are the singular person playing this game. I am Jonathan, and I am wearing this skin. So I put on the skin of Batman, the skin of Joker, the skin
Isn't
of
that
Poison Ivy.
interesting?
And it was so much truth in that my son, Xander, 8 years old,
7.
it's gonna be 8, yeah, in March, sorry, I think he's 7 years old, and now had almost a meltdown because he kept dying and he kept using the words, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. And I said, no, son, this is a video game. The character on the
Yeah,
screen
he's
is
done
going
that,
to lose
right.
the game if he loses his health. And then
It's
guess
a
what?
bar.
Guess what? You can push this button right here,
Regenerate.
and he's gonna come back to life. Look, I'm gonna do it with you. We're gonna push this button. Look, and he all of a sudden he's back standing up
There he
again. Look at that. He didn't even die. Yes. Not even Jesus rose that fast, right?
3 days.
Right? So this took 3
seconds.
seconds. So I had to calm him down, and finally I realized he had lost in touch with reality because of the words he was using. My skin, my guy, I am going to die. You, daddy, have to come save me. Pick that up. We need that. I'm all, do you realize that none of that is true?
That's how video games
So,
are, though.
I
Like,
know.
that's how people embody them, and that's how they care so much about it.
Because
if
they
only
become
they
it.
could channel that into their dream and their vision of who they want to be.
That's what I'm saying. And that's when I realized, I thought all of that energy, if it could be transmutated, is it that your word?
Transmuted,
Transmuted,
yes,
sorry,
it is.
transmuted. And if I'm thinking about this right, he could change the way he speaks that and thinks about that, and then the game would become more fun for him, and he'd be better at it because it stressed him out. So I started using different words. I started saying, he used to say, "What skin do you want to wear?" And I would say, "Mine. I like to be this character, though." You're so weird. I'm like, man, I'm doing this on purpose for you. And you don't even know it. And then I said, okay, pick that up. We can use that later. Not we need that. Grab that. You can use that, Xander. And he started saying, okay, Dad, get that. We can use that. And when his verbiage changed, his energy changed, his attitude changed, and the game was so much more fun. He actually won his first match that he ever won before, and he started winning more and more. He started playing the game as a team player. It was
didn't become
so much
like
better.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had
Yeah.
to change that. Thank
So
you.
we had to run relatively abruptly. We had to run relatively abruptly because my son woke up. So thank you for joining us for this. I really hope this was helpful for you. A little deeper dive into the problem areas that we have, the intellectual faculties, and then the laws as well. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.